Hey guys, I am Bo and welcome to Community Ideas, in which I get you guys to give me your ideas for a certain topic with Destiny, and I will go over all of them in today's video. So I asked you guys, what ideas would you like to see implemented into the brand new raid which is going to be taking place on the Dreadnaught and is going to be coming with the Taken King expansion on September 15th. Well, you guys had a load of different ideas, so let's start off with the first one here. So Mini Chuckle said, I would like to see a scenario where your raid team gets split up like in the Athean fight, but maybe even going deeper and splitting your team into 3 smaller groups in which each group has to complete certain tasks to be able to move on. I think something like this would give the raid more depth and more replayability, and I agree with you there. Now this really reminds me of Call of Duty Zombies. If you guys ever played that, there was a map called Verrückt, and the team started in 2 halves. You couldn't get to each other and you had to work out how to open a door to get to each other. Now I would really love to see more encounters like in the Athean boss battle, where you're getting split up, you have different things to do, and as Mini Chuckle said here, it's definitely going to add to replayability, because in one scenario you will be doing one thing, then you can replay it and you might be doing the other thing, and then you can play it again and you can do a different thing, and it would just make it a lot more fun to be paired up with different people each time. Some people might not be so good at some things, some people might be really good, and I definitely would love to see this implemented into the new raid. Now moving on, Feligo, hopefully I'm saying that right, says, for the new raid I would really like to see a puzzle type section where you need a certain element to complete it. It's weird to explain, but it would be possible since every class is going to have all 3 elements, Solar, Void and Arc. Of course they are with the new subclasses. For example, in a part of the puzzle / battle of the raid, there would be 3 pyramids or totems or something like that, and each totem would be a different element type. 1 Arc, 1 Void and 1 Solar. The 6 Guardians would have to work together and generate the energy of, for example, the Solar Totem by killing taken enemies with solar abilities. You would have to keep producing energy because the energy in the totem will slowly decrease. Once all totems are full, the gates open, or if this mechanic would be in a boss fight, the boss would be more vulnerable to, let's say, 30 seconds. A little like Time's Vengeance from the Vault of Glass, or like the Servitors Bond when you're fighting Skolas. This is just an idea that came up within my mind, and that could be changed a little bit to be better. So this is a really cool idea, making sure players are using certain element types, kind of like the boss battle in the Prison of Elders with the Cabal, where he changes shields every time it goes down, so you have to keep adapting to different element types. Now the idea here was that you had to use supers. Now to make this maybe a little bit easier for people, you could add in weapon element types as well, so you don't just have to be using your super, you could be using a solar weapon, a void weapon or an arc weapon as well. I think that might make this a little bit more of an easier task to do. Perhaps in the harder version of this raid you could just do it so it's only supers, but I think for the easier version, make it weapons, and that would make it a little bit more enjoyable as well, just in case it does make it a little bit too hard. So Karma Bears says, I'd like to see aspects of Vault of Glass and Crota's End in the new raid, and he liked how the bridge worked, that you needed teamwork to get across it. Obviously people managed to cheese their way through that eventually, but it still required teamwork. Also he says he liked the Athean fight the most, and he'd love to see that in the Taken King. Also something with a lot of puzzles. So this is an awesome idea. I would love to see aspects from the previous raids made a little bit better and then put into the Taken King. I think that'd be really cool. I preferred the Athean encounter as well, like Karma Bears, and hopefully Oryx in the Taken King raid is going to be a lot more improved than Crota and Athean. So Surge Cave here says, I have a raid encounter idea with a hive ogre called the Light Eater. I will cover my ideas for a normal mode. So the first part of the fight is you have to build a pathway to get to a room. In that room there's a special kind of cursed thrall that is a major, and once you've killed that cursed thrall it will drop something that you have to put in the pathway so it can build. You then also have to kill 10 of those special cursed thralls. Once you've killed all 10 of those thralls, it will say the pathway is built. You run to the other side for the next part of the encounter. The next part of the encounter is to find a special key to get out of the maze. You have 13 minutes to find the key to get out of the maze. Each week with the weekly reset, the maze will actually change, and a lot like the beginning of the Crota's End, the maze will be complete black. So before you can actually damage the boss, you must kill 3 wizards who are giving the ogre a shield. Once you've killed those wizards, you have 45 seconds to damage the boss before the next wave of wizards spawn. So the rewards for completing the maze part are Ascendant Shards and a chance to get the gauntlets of your class for killing the boss you get. More shards and more energy have a chance of getting a shotgun and a rocket launcher. So that's a really cool idea. I could see that being put into a raid definitely, maybe with a few tweaks here and there. I don't think they're going to be giving us Ascendant materials anytime soon. Maybe we'll get some sort of new material, we'll have to wait and see. I could definitely see this being an encounter during the Taken King raid. Now Paul goes on to say, as far as raid goes, I would like to see different ways to get through it. maybe you solve a puzzle, and if you can't, you have to fight your way through a mob of enemies. I think this would just add to the overall replayability of the raid. My favourite moment from the Vault of Glass was trying to make my way through the Gorgon's maze for the first time. That was definitely one of my favourite parts as well. They could have a maze that is different every time you enter it, kind of like the one we just talked about. The main goal in all of this would be to render walkways useless, so we have to rely on ourselves and our fire team to get through it. That would be awesome. I really want to see a maze implemented into the raids. Of course, we kind of had a maze at the beginning of Crota's End, except it was the same every time. I'd like to see something that changes, give us more replayability, and I definitely like the ideas of having different ways to do different things. You know, make your way through the maze, solve this puzzle. If you can't solve this puzzle, a load of enemies come out, you kill them, and then you can advance onto the next bit. I could definitely see something like that being implemented into the Taken King again. So Matt Hatter says a lot of things here, but to do with the raid, he says, I would like it if it would contain a bombshell of a puzzle, hidden areas, etc., Vault of Glass aspects. Bits that require teamwork to be completed, like the strike we saw, and I would love to see really hard puzzles and hidden areas that you have to find that people may not even find for like a year to come. And also bits that require teamwork. I think this raid is going to be heavily reliant on teamwork, making sure you're working well as a team to come over certain obstacles. I think they're going to be emphasizing that a lot more than they did with the Vault of Glass and indeed Crota's End. And then the last idea comes from Destroyer Job 1, who says, in the raid, maybe more paths, but class only, like a giant stone wall you have to smash with the Titan, a small vent thing for the Hunter, and a magic barrier for the Warlock. And he also wants to see Oryx along through the raid, kind of like we did with Omnigul in that strike. So this is a really cool idea, having certain things in the raid where you need a certain class. That could be really cool, but again, it might really suck for people who aren't able to get someone of that class. However, it would mean that every class is needed for this raid, which is something we haven't had for things like Vault of Glass and Crota's End. Vault of Glass, you didn't really need a hunter very much, and with Crota's End there were definitely some classes which you didn't need as much as the others. So I could definitely see them adding certain things for different classes. And with the introduction of the new subclasses as well, I could see them adding things to do with those. So those are all the ideas you guys had for the brand new raid with the Taken King. Seems like a load of you guys just want puzzles in this raid, and that's what I really want as well. We got a taste of that with the Vault of Glass, and then they didn't really do too much with puzzles in the Crota's End raid. Definitely give us more puzzles, Bungie. I think that's what people really want here, and more things to do with teamwork. Working well together as a team is what these raids are all about. Give us more of that. I think that would be really cool. So thank you to everyone who put their ideas for the new raid in the comments for the previous video. If you guys would like to see your ideas in a future video, then be sure to give your ideas in the comments below. For the next video, I'm going to be taking your ideas for what exotic weapons you would like to see. So if you have any ideas for how you'd like to see exotic weapons implemented, perhaps exotic bounties and things like that, let me know in the comments below. If you have any really cool ideas for guns, let me know and I will feature them in the next video. If you guys missed my previous video in which I went over everything that is being included with the Taken King expansion, all the content in that, as well as a special Bungie Day emblem. We don't know how to earn it quite yet, but if you click on the previous video, you'll be able to see what that emblem actually looks like. Feel free to give the like button a big old hug and subscribe for tons more Destiny content and coverage. I am Bo, have an awesome day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.